Hello brain lovers, Gregory here from the Brain Academy. So today we're going to speak about denial, not this one. Well, technically speaking, I'm right now talking to myself, even though you have the impression I'm talking to you.
But who the hell else are you talking to? Talking to me?
When in fact, I'm just talking to a camera. Now, does that count as some type of denial? No? God damn it! So last week I started talking about misinformation and how it affects how we evaluate ourselves. Long story short, we make a complete fool out of ourselves. Now this week I want to talk about something closely related to that, which is denial. Denial, or the refusal to accept reality, right?
You can't triple stamp a double stamp! Lloyd! You guys!
That's weird, you know? Something happens and then it's not that you're against it or don't like it. No, you just act as if that very thing did not happen. You refuse to accept it. You deny its very existence. Like some people who seriously and sincerely don't remember their age, or some people who gain some kilos and stubbornly try to put on clothes that don't fit anymore.
Ignorance is bliss.
The big question is why? Why do we do that? Why would we refuse to accept reality?
I want to know. Tell me.
It's not as if things would magically go away. Why do we reject reality? Well, there are two schools of thoughts here. The first one is a classical school and sees self-deception as a defense mechanism.
Shields up, ready!
It's a way for our fragile egos to protect itself. We push painful thoughts and memories out of our conscious field, so we're not confronted with it anymore. So we don't have to suffer because of it. We basically deceive ourselves because we can't handle the truth.
Are we going to talk about it?
What?
The elephant in the room.
What elephant?
I guess not then.
An interesting side mechanism is the slip of the tongue here. So, for example, you're not allowed anymore to talk about a certain topic, certain person, but you really want to, subconsciously. So when you do, you just act as if you didn't, if that makes sense. I have no idea why I would use such an example. Now, this classical school, based on Freud and so on, has gotten quite some critics, because if the goal is to preserve our self-esteem, wouldn't it be so much more simple, in evolutionary terms speaking, to make the brain's self-esteem mechanism simply stronger? To deal with threatening information instead of resorting to this complicated denial mechanism. KISS, remember? Keep it short and simple. Evolution is usually pretty straightforward. So there's a second school of thought here, and I would like to refer to the work of Kevin Simler and Robin Hanson with their book The Elephant in the Brain. It's quite an interesting read. Well, I can't say that I agree with everything that is in here, but the part on self-deception is intriguing. And it goes like this. Self-deception is not about deceiving oneself, but about deceiving others. Hear me out. So lying is difficult.
I can't lie!
Convincing others isn't an easy feat. The central idea is that it's way easier to convince someone of something you strongly believe in yourself. So from that perspective, the entire value of self-deception and related phenomena lies in the way others act when they believe that you stand behind what you say. They will more easily indulge you, go along with your version of the facts, basically play dumb. Sounds familiar? So by living in denial, you have a way better chance to avoid the negative consequences of the reality you are basically denying. In a way, it's a sort of extreme wishful thinking. So this is interesting, because denial suddenly is not about convincing ourselves anymore. It's about convincing others to go along. Now, why would others go along with an obvious lie? Why would this strategy have any chance of success? Well, there could be all kinds of reasons, really. Especially if the person in denial is an authority figure. To be agreeable, to avoid conflict, to win favors, to show allegiance. In this context, let me refer to you to the conformity experiments of Solomon Asch. This is one of the great classics. You fill a room with stooges, one real participant. You ask a question, in this case it was about how long a line was. A very simple thing. Then you let the stooges give an obvious wrong answer.
One.
Basically, well, 1/3 of the participants who didn't know the others were stooges would conform to the wrong answer.
One. They must be right. There are 4 of them and 1 of me.
One.
And that's without the authority argument. Because if you add in the authority element, here's what you get. The famous Milgram experiment.
This machine generates electric shocks, and when you press one of the switches all the way down, the learner gets a shock.
It showed how up to 65% of participants were willing to give deadly electrical shocks. Well, in reality, they weren't deadly, but that was a setup. When someone with authority was asking them to, they gave deadly electrical shocks.
Please continue, teacher.
Neil, you're gonna get a shock. 180 volts.
So imagine if someone in a position of authority is asking something less impactful than deadly electrical shocks, how many would you say would conform? So yes, when someone in a position of authority is refusing to accept reality, this school of thought is saying that it's not about that someone, it's about the others going along. Any resemblance to reality is purely coincidental. Hey, leave your thoughts in the comments below and don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out some of our other episodes, and if you want the real stuff, you go to brainacademy.com. Join our 300,000 students and start using your brain better. Brain out.
Sharpen your mind.